I
Okay.
think I remember there was a trip when you got stuck in the bathroom, and I can't remember if that was on a plane or if that was on the bus.
Okay. First of all, I feel like there still might be some PTSD. So you bringing up some stuff that I don't know if I want to talk about.
Welcome to the Brannon Files podcast.
I'm Brandy.
And I'm Shannon, also known as Brannon.
I'm the older sister.
And I'm the younger.
As Black women, we've had a lifetime of adventures, including world travel, navigating work, and adjusting to evolving family dynamics.
Join us as we dig deep into the files to share stories, experiences, and tips.
Hey,
Hey, girl, hey.
girl, we out here doing this.
This is our first ever podcast, so welcome.
Welcome, welcome. Much talked about and finally ready to go for it.
You've got Brannon Files here live with you.
You're over there, I'm over here, but we're together.
Yeah, we've got to navigate this some kind of way with you being on one coast and me being on the other.
Yeah, so like here's to figuring out all the audio, all the video, all that stuff. See if we're looking at each other, see if we're looking somewhere else.
It's gonna be a joy. So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's go. So listen, weeks are weeks, and you know how they can be. What have you navigated through this week?
Well, I just had a house full of people. Like sometimes you have a house guest when it's just like one person coming, maybe a couple. Nope, I had 4, and 2 of them were teenage boys. I'm not used to being around teenage boys. There's definitely an aroma, a scent, if you will. Some might call it body odor, but it wasn't bad. It just was something that my house definitely smelled different than I'm used to having hormonal teenage boys in the house.
It
What'd
sounds
you
like a
navigate?
whole lot.
It was a lot in terms of not being used to it, but it was really nice to have them here. It was nice to be around some family.
Oh,
What'd you
that's
navigate?
good.
Oh.
No, I was just saying, yeah, I'll tell you in a minute. I was like, that's good, but I don't know. Living by myself, going from 0 to 5 seems like a lot, but that's just me. That's just me.
I just, playing gracious hostess, and it's, one of my favorite cousins. I don't have a favorite, but one of my favorite.
Okay. Like that's what somebody paid you to say, that you don't have a favorite, but that's fine. Let me see. What did I navigate this week? I navigated work travel. It's been a while since I've had like a work trip, and this one was kind of fast and furious. I don't really like early morning flights, so I did the red eye, which I prefer, but with it only being like about a 72-hour turnaround, I realized that my body probably didn't recover the way maybe it used to back in the day. But it
They
was it
say
was kind
once
of
you
nice.
hit a certain age, your
Hey,
body
hey,
don't do
hey,
what
hey,
it
hey.
used to. I didn't say
Nobody
what
know that.
age you are. I just
You
said
didn't, but
when you hit it. They say when it hits, it hits.
yeah, that's like those are facts. But it was kind of cool to actually have live meetings again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I recently went to a conference for the first time since the pandemic.
Oh,
And yeah, it was a lot. It was really nice to be around people and feed off their energy, but at the same time, a lot of people and a lot of energy.
yeah,
It was a mixture.
for sure. Sounds like a lot. Like I said, it just sounds like a lot of people in all together.
Yeah, I've gotten used to this being at home, working from home, not really peopling unless I want to for social interaction, but it was good for me to challenge myself.
I like it. It's always good to, step into new areas and get back out there in the world.
Yeah. So, as we're stepping into areas and getting back into the world, as we mentioned, this is our first podcast. So, in today's episode, we're going to take it back a little ways, and we're going to talk about some of our earliest travel memories, how those memories influenced us later in life. And we want to make sure you be sure to stick around because we've got a tip for you at the end.
What would you say is your earliest travel memory?
Um, okay. So there was this one time when we were really little, I don't know how old I was, but we went on a bus trip from Detroit, Michigan to Los Angeles, California with Granny. And I remember she made these like travel pillows for us, and we had little pockets in there so we could have our coloring books or like little kid puzzle books and things to
Hmm.
do, and crayons or colored pencils, whatever we had at that time. So we stayed busy. And I remember stopping at like cafeteria restaurants on the bus. I'd never really experienced that because I was too young. I wasn't in school with that type of cafeteria. So getting to like pick out my food at the cafeteria restaurants, it was really cool. And then I think just being able to see all the different parts of the country go by on the window, at least for the times when I was awake. But yeah, I'd say that's probably my earliest travel memory. What about yours?
For me, I think I can't think of one particular trip, but kind of just like our spring break trips when we were young in general. I mean, most of them usually involved going to Florida, but it would usually be with like granny, auntie, mom. I feel like dad wasn't really with us like that. So I feel like it was kind of like a girls' trip.
There were girls' trips.
Yeah, definitely girls' trips. But honey, I remember them dressing us all alike, whether we all needed to be dressed alike or not, and hitting like the theme parks. And I remember getting our faces painted once. We had these matching striped outfits on. They were like a cream with some pastel pinstripes, and like we got our faces painted like clowns, probably looking 100% ridiculous. But like these are some of my earliest travel memories. And then like I remember we were never really allowed to like go eat at the restaurants in the parks and stuff like that. We had to pack our lunch and bring it. I remember I think we have like a cooler that we leave in the car. Back then you could kind of go in and out of the parks if you get your hand. Remember the hand stamp with like the UV light
Put it under
stamp?
the light.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you had to go in and out of the park. And so we have to go eat our lunch or our snacks or whatever, and then go back and hit the park. But I would say those are some of my earliest travel memories. But thinking
Back to
about,
mine. I
okay,
think I remember there was a trip when you got stuck in the bathroom, and I can't remember if that was on a plane or if that was on the bus.
okay. First of all, I feel like there still might be some PTSD. So you bringing up some stuff that I don't know if I want to talk about.
I'm
But
sorry.
yeah,
These are some of my
yes,
earliest travel memories.
right. And it revolves around my trauma. It's fine. It's fine. But also, like with that, I was gonna go to your story and I will tell you about it was definitely a bus. But I just thought about like I feel like Granny was like real bold and brave to take three of us young kids across the country in a bus. That's like a lot of patience and a lot of love.
That
Um,
is, I mean, I feel like most of our early travel trips are with Granny,
yeah,
and they were involving like going to see family because
100%.
we were going to California, but we were going to see relatives that
Yeah, and like, and
I'd
this
never met them.
now the trauma trip, Auntie was also with us, so Granny was not the only adult. Um, yeah, it was the bus, and all I want to do was go to the bathroom. And you weren't in school yet for sure, but I don't even know that I was in school yet. Well, no, you were old enough, so I had to have been in school.
Yeah, you would have had to
Yeah.
been.
So I must have been like around probably 6 to 7 years old. All I want to do was go to the bathroom, and I got stuck in that bus bathroom. And it still to this day feels like the longest time of my life. And as I look back on it, it may really have only been 5 minutes. But for me, even if I tell the story now, I was in there for hours. Because I couldn't figure out how to unlatch the lock. I just remember Auntie being outside of the bathroom, like getting very frustrated with me, trying to coach me how to unlock this bathroom. And I'm hysterical because I'm already just thinking I'm stuck and could not do it. And just felt like Auntie was being mean to me while I was stuck in the bathroom. And everybody on the bus is probably like, don't want to hear this little girl crying and screaming. But what I do remember is that I don't remember the bus driver pulling over either. Like everybody just let this go on.
Why
So
would the bus driver pull over? They have a schedule to stay on, and you're on the bus. It's not
if
like you got
somebody's
stuck in
stuck in
the
the
bathroom.
bathroom, that's not a like, I don't know. I
Not like
feel
you
like
got stuck in the bathroom at a stop and they like left you behind as a minor. You're on the bus with your family. Like I probably wouldn't have stopped if I was the bus driver. I know it was a traumatic experience for
fine.
you.
Dang.
But if I was the bus driver, I would have kept going down the road too. Like this little girl is fine. We're gonna get her out. Somebody back there will figure it out. Like,
Well, I would have thought the screaming, I would have thought the people irritated me screaming at the top of my lungs and crying on the bus probably would ask them to pull over. But to your
maybe
point,
that door was real solid. Like,
nobody
I
did.
was, if you were, you said you were 6 or 7,
Yeah,
that means I was like 2 or 3. So I don't really
exactly.
remember all of this. I just know the stories after the fact that you got stuck in the bathroom. But I feel like that wasn't the only time you got stuck in the bathroom.
Well, I mean, okay, I can't recall ever actually getting stuck like that in a bathroom again. Maybe
Okay.
I have selectively forgotten, but what I can tell you is that still on a plane, bus, or otherwise, I will try my hardest not to go to the bathroom because I still don't like them. And I still have slight like panic if the bathroom door won't unlock immediately, like as I try to unlock it, namely on a plane, because I'm not really trying to do the bus like that anymore. But
Yeah.
but yeah.
Well, I won't let you just be out there all by yourself with like a panic attack story as a child. Because I went on this camping trip and I went canoeing and I really thought I drowned. Like we used to go
Oh,
through this chute when there was an end of the canoeing trip and we would go through
is this
this
like
tunnel.
whitewater rafting type of situation
No, this
or?
was just a regular canoe. But there
Oh,
was this one part at the end of the canoe trip where we would shoot through this tube because it like kind of went a little faster there. And when my
okay.
canoe shot through, we flipped on the
Oh,
other side of it.
like how old is this?
This is like 5th or 6th grade.
Okay.
And so when we flipped, I was like panicking. And I can swim. I
I
can
would
dive.
too.
I'm a
I mean,
good
but
swimmer.
still, who
Yeah.
expects to
Like
who you're supposed to be on top of the water, not under, not
I
under.
never thought a canoe would capsize, but it
Right.
did. And so I'm under the water and I'm like flailing. And this is somebody, again, I can swim, but this is not I panicked. I just flat out panicked and was flailing. And all the adults that were with me were like, stand up, Shannon, stand up.
Okay, wait. I really don't want to laugh right now, but
You laughing. I feel it. You are laughing at me, but they were telling me to like, just stand up. Man, I stood up and the water was like at my shin. It was not even knee height. Like it was such a low amount of
like
water.
how was your face almost even in
I
the
was
water, right?
I was flipped over and the canoe flipped over and I just panicked. So I just felt like I couldn't let you be out there all alone with a panic travel story because this camping trip definitely traumatized me. But I still get in the water. I don't have any like I don't know. I've never been whitewater rafting. That might do it. It was like the
That
memories
look,
might
that's
come
an
back.
adventure. That is fun, but yeah, that could do it. But well, thank you for not leaving me out there alone. I'm sorry for laughing at your trauma, but when you like just stand up, like, but when you're panicking, everything sounds so simple, but your brain is like I said, I probably was really in that bathroom for probably a total of 5 minutes. Like it probably was not the hours that it still to this day feels like it was. Because when you're
Probably
panicked,
not.
you're just not
Yeah.
thinking straight.
And I could barely like I felt like I couldn't even hear them telling me to stand up and let this is me sixth grade, 5th grade year old me. So
Right,
like calf or below knee level water, that's not
right.
that tall.
At all. Like probably not
That's,
even 18 inches, maybe.
that's like just enough to cover your body. Like it's
Yeah.
like they're not
But
not a
wait, can I make a sidebar? You said just enough to cover your body? Remember how Granny put like 1 inch of water in the bathtub though?
that's a whole nother day, a whole nother
Okay,
story.
okay, oh, no, no,
I feel like y'all are gonna hear about our granny on like every episode possibly
right.
because
It
we've
could
got so
be.
many stories with her and we loved her and yeah, she's not with us anymore. So we remember her through our stories.
But yeah, oh, can we talk about the bus trips again though? Because like I remember that she always packed us Fig Newtons. And I could not stand those Fig Newtons, like to save my life. But if we
I
got the
remember the wafer
strawberry
cracker
ones,
cookies.
oh, we had those too. But I remember there were strawberry Newtons. I like those, but
Oh
the
yeah.
Fig Newtons, I didn't want any parts of them.
I don't even know if they make the strawberry ones anymore, but those were good.
But
But
do they even still make Fig Newtons?
I think maybe, I don't know. We might be
Oh,
dating ourselves here.
I don't, I know, right?
Like, if y'all listening, you let
What's a
us
Fig
know.
Newton?
Anybody still out there buying fig Newtons for themselves, their
Anybody?
family, their granny,
Anybody?
whatever. We don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know.
Um, but yeah, there was these wafer cookies. Those were my favorite. It was
Nilla.
like the rice wafer, not Nilla wafers.
Oh no, I know what
It
you're
was like
talking
the
about.
rice is like layers. So like they have
With the
layers of
cream in
vanilla.
it.
Yeah, there was like vanilla icing or something in between on the vanilla one. There was a strawberry one. and it was like Neapolitan.
Yeah, but they had a chocolate one. And you
Yeah,
know what? To your point of that being like rice paperish, I bet those are gluten-free. I bet we
they
could still eat
probably
those today.
they probably are gluten
I
free.
don't even know if they make them anymore either. I feel like we might 100% be dating ourselves on all the snacks we had on that bus ride. But
I
yeah,
feel like we could find somebody's grandparents that could tell us where to buy these things.
yeah. I
I
mean,
think
maybe
they
we could also
exist.
just look at the local grocery store and just check. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
we could do that.
Yeah.
Maybe at like, or even at an international market, maybe they still sell them somewhere else, even if they don't sell them in the US anymore.
Those little wafer things, yes, I was just gonna say they sell those. I remember in Europe, especially for sure in like Vienna, Austria, they had them. And sadly, I
Mm.
do remember looking, and I think they did have some wheat flour in them, but
Um,
maybe now, like, but yes, they actually in other countries I have seen the wafers, but it seems like it's usually like the wafer part is like vanilla with the cream part being chocolate. Like it's not exactly the
oh, it's
same.
not quite the same.
It's not quite the same. It may be
Like the
something
ones
like
we
even a
had were
hazelnut.
all the same flavor.
Yeah.
Like if you had a vanilla wafer, then you had the vanilla icing and it layered,
Yep.
layered, layered. If you had a
Yep.
strawberry wafer, then you had the strawberry icing. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, what other, wait a minute. Well, now we're on snacks. You got me reminiscing about like the circle pizzas.
Listen, I started thinking about some other things too, because I was like, even thinking not necessarily that trip, but remember how we never really had like the name brand sandwich cookies, but they also had like vanilla and chocolate with the white cream in the middle, but we didn't get to
Oh
get like
yeah,
the name brand ever.
right. They were never.
And the toaster treats, because also that was not name brand,
Oh no,
right?
no. Well, at some point in life, I became a snob because I would only eat Pop-Tarts. I did not want anybody's toaster street treats because the icing, whoever, I don't know who makes the Pop-Tart icing, but they have that on lock. The ratio of icing to pastry is on point. The off-brand ones, it seemed like the icing never quite went far enough to the edge. And I hated the edges because the edges didn't have the icing and they didn't have the filling. So I
Now,
need my ratio to be icing covered all the way across, like the filling in the middle
full
covered all.
coverage.
Yeah, like you can still have your border because if there's no filling out there, I don't want it. So I'm gonna
Right.
break off all
Right.
the
The
edges,
filling part, yeah.
like
But you
all
know,
my
I like
edges are coming
crust
off.
though. So
I would give you my crust. You can break
yeah,
off all the crusty edges, and I
yeah.
want the icing and the filling. That's what I'm eating. It's
Now I
like
would,
a
yeah.
sandwich.
I would eat the off-brand ones, but like that cinnamon and sugar, I didn't like the fruit ones. Cinnamon sugar was my staple, but that cinnamon sugar filling is definitely different in the name brand, in the Pop-Tart brand.
Yes,
Definitely.
it is different, and the strawberry ones taste different. Also, I was strawberry or cinnamon brown sugar.
Yeah.
I wonder if they make a good gluten-free one because I definitely can't eat those anymore.
Yeah, I don't all the ones I think I've tried some once and it definitely was like not I wouldn't compare it. Like I didn't try it again. So, maybe by now it is, but even though like the crust also wasn't quite right, it was closer, but the filling was definitely like not even worth talking about, to be perfectly honest.
That's shameful.
Very shameful. Might be saving our waistline though, because I'm not saying that all of these were like the healthiest treats, but
No, they weren't. But I mean, actually, my breakfast of champions was that name brand snack and an orange pop.
all
That
right.
was like 7 a.m. all through high school.
And wait, you were drinking pop in the morning?
Yes,
That is disgusting. And mom let you do that? Because I don't even remember them buying pop for us.
high school. I was at school buying these things. No, our parents didn't even have any of that crap in the house.
But
This
we
was,
barely
I could go through the lunch line in the morning and buy my own.
like
They
I
weren't
feel like
following
they
me to
barely gave
school.
me
They weren't
they
following me to
barely
school
gave
to
me
figure
money
out
to get
what
food at school. Like I feel like I
I
was
was
taking my
buying my own.
but they gave you lunch money. Like I still felt like I had to take lunch in high school, but it's fine. Okay.
This is breakfast.
Okay.
And not all, no, not all through high school were they giving me money. I was buying my own.
Okay. All right.
It's like I'm gonna say what I said one more
Okay. Say what you
time.
said. I said what I said.
I did say what I said. But we are so
Okay.
far off of what we
That's what I
intended.
was thinking. I was like, yeah, this took a total segue, but hey, that's
Snacks on
usually how a
snacks on
conversation
snacks.
goes with us.
So go ahead and get us back to where we're supposed to be.
Where we're supposed to be. Well, I mean, yeah, we both had some fun early childhood memory stories, and both did actually lead back to Granny, which was a nice memory. But Yeah, that's kind of what got that whole travel thing going, huh?
It is really true how we got that travel thing going, and it stayed with us, like, that travel bug never left. So, how do you think us starting off early traveling with granny and family has influenced your travel as you got older?
I mean, I think they like instilled it in us so young. Like I would say it definitely piqued my interest and really thought that was like a normal way of life, right? Like I thought that's what we were supposed to do, whether it be in the summer with granny or a spring break, felt like we had to go somewhere. But um even with that, like I just wanted to go more and more and more. I would say between like taking Spanish class and the fact that we've been exposed to travel definitely made me want to figure out how to be an exchange student. So I'd say that's where it influenced me even more to realize like, oh wait, we could go somewhere internationally, like something else, even on a plane. We had been on a plane a little bit, but most of our stuff before, when we were younger was in the car. So that led me to like the exchange in Costa Rica, getting to go to Spain on exchange, and then even in college, like, getting to go to Greece. And so once I had like the international travel bug, I just, really wanted to see the world. What about you? How do you think it influenced like your later travel?
I feel like, being the younger sister and for a long time being the little cousin as well, some of my travel was really influenced by those of y'all who were older than me. So, like, watching you be able to do all the things that you did kind of made me like, huh, traveling without our parents. That's a thing. All right. But do I travel with people who aren't family? I'm not sure. So I really started traveling with you mostly. And all these shenanigans that y'all are hearing us talk about today were live and in person. And
So
we
much.
were in Miami so much. It felt like Miami
Oh,
was our trip.
MIA, take it to the
Yeah.
house.
And I told you
Take
Miami
it to
was
the
the
house.
place to be, right? So,
For sure.
like, just getting that little bit of a trip, and then also, like, Miami feels like it's not the US sometimes. Like, there's so many different cultures in Miami, and you hear all these different languages, and you can taste all this different food, that Miami was like, "Okay, this is like a gateway to get me to go some other places." And then even, like, some of the trips we've been on that you plan for your birthdays, like, I feel like you have been a real, like, catalyst to me starting out to want to
Aw.
travel. And then you sometimes, you bringing me along with you, or like you coming with me, whatever way it works has been like, okay, I can do this. And it
I
even
was
helped
gonna
me
say,
branch out a little.
yeah, I was gonna say also, I think like one of the benefits of you being like the little sister was like, even I remember like I think you came to visit me like on maybe spring break or something like
Yeah,
that, even, you know what I mean? Since I was in college, so I was already gone before you left. I,
that's
I
true.
remember I remember you could that was before it was even like an official sister trip, right? I think that was still with
Right.
mom, but nonetheless, it kind of started like the idea of like, oh, I can visit Brandy where she is or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, there was times when I think I visited you with mom and when I visited you without mom, because I feel
Yeah.
like in your dorm room when we were using the outside as the refrigerator with your chicken wings when you were in Atlanta. I don't remember mom being with me when I spent the night. Like, I know I definitely spent the night in your dorm room, and we
Yeah, and
playing nasty Kool-Aid drinking games.
oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. That's true. Yeah.
also
Mine was not on that trip. I don't
no, I don't know how I got dropped off with you,
Me
but I
either.
did.
I was trying to figure out how that happened. Yeah. Yeah,
And I remember
that was a fun time.
I went to some college dances too with you,
Oh yeah, you did.
and
Wait,
like
Ben, that had to have been the same trip as Nasty Kool-Aid though. Like
maybe
I don't know how else you would have been there, but I don't they must have just sent you down. Like
I was
that's
like in eighth or ninth grade.
you had to been in ninth grade. I refuse to believe that you're in middle school going to the college dance. Like I'm not. We
I
are
do
not.
remember being when you were. I do remember being in eighth grade and people thinking I was older than you. Like when I came to visit you as while you
Yeah.
were in college,
I
and
have a picture of that dance, by the way. Definitely. As a matter of fact, not only do I have a picture, it was a magnet and it is on my refrigerator like right now.
I don't even remember how it became a magnet though. How did that
Me
picture?
either.
Did
Like
you
we
do?
obviously must have bought like the picture package like at the dance, which is also just so random. Like, yeah, I had on the cream like tuxedo top looking thing, and you had a straight black dress, I think with like some feathers like
Yeah.
around here.
Okay, so maybe I might have been a freshman or a sophomore
That's what I'm
then by
saying. I
that
feel like
time
you had to have been
for
at
the
least.
dance, but that was not the case. I think Nasty Kool-Aid was before the dance. I think that
You
was a
do? You think
different
that was
trip.
two different trips?
I do.
Oh, wow.
Because I think
Yeah.
Nasty Kool-Aid also went
Yeah.
with the chicken wings on the outside, went outside the
You know
window.
what? Nasty Kool-Aid was definitely my freshman year, I believe. No, no, no. That was for my sophomore year. And I know the dance definitely was not my freshman year, but hey,
Yeah,
who
so
knows?
if Nasty Kool-Aid was your sophomore year, then I definitely was in 8th grade.
My sophomore year in college, you were in 8th grade, we're 5 grades apart. Like you should have been a freshman,
Oh, okay.
right?
Maybe. My
Yeah,
math is
for
missing.
sure, for sure. Okay. But
But
anyway,
just for y'all, because we keep referring to Nasty Kool-Aid, let me explain.
good point.
No matter if I was in 8th or 9th grade, what was going on is we were with Brandy and her friends in their dorm room. And normally it's a drinking game. But because I was underage and I have a responsible older sister and somebody who I don't think even drank at that
No, I was
time,
gonna say I didn't drink either, so
yeah,
like it's just as much for me. Yeah.
we decided like alcohol is disgusting, was what we thought, at least at that time.
Right.
And so, what can we make each other drink that tastes equally disgusting? Sugarless Kool-Aid. So,
Right.
like, let's
And
mix
by the
up
way,
some,
it probably wasn't Kool-Aid either. It was probably like,
well, whatever brand
yeah,
of some non-flavored drink, flavored water. Like,
flavored
flavored water with zero sugar is what we decided. We mixed up different flavors. So, just to make sure it tasted extra.
terrible. Terrible is like the
And
word.
so, as if you were drinking, we decided that we would take not, we took like
It was
half
more than a shot.
cups.
Yeah,
It was
like it
not a
was
shot. No,
yeah.
we drank more of it because we were like, it's disgusting. It's not alcohol. We can't do a shot size. We have to do more.
We had to suffer.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, but it was one of the best memories, actually. I was like, I clearly to this day, I remember drinking Nasty Kool-Aid, and we are forever going to talk about the Nasty Kool-Aid game.
Yes, that was so fun. Yeah, look, I guess like those early trips definitely influence, like I said, even starter trips just for you coming to see me in college and then for us to end up going out alone. Now, I remember like one year we did Miami, because you talk about Miami like 5 times. I mean, by then I was living in Atlanta, so it wasn't like we were traveling so far to get to Miami. Although you were, I don't know, were you in Nashville at that time? Or
Well, which trip?
that's
Just that
true. I
one
mean, the
year?
time we went so many times in one year, I don't know.
Because we went for work also.
True.
So yeah, I was in Nashville. I was coming from
Okay.
Nashville.
Yeah, but Miami has many, many memories. And yes, like I remember like a typical Miami rotation would be like the Cuban restaurant we loved, had to go to Mango's. I don't even know if Mango still exists or not, but
And the
yeah,
Cuban restaurant was Puerto Sagua.
yeah, that was the name of it for sure, right there on Washington. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still there either, but it was good times.
Yeah,
We need to take,
I
I
haven't
feel
been
like
to
we need
South
a
Beach in a long time. We might
me
need a South
either.
Beach reboot.
That's what I was gonna say. We might need a reunion. And I mean, because usually it was rarely that it was just the two of us. That was usually definitely like a friend trip of some sorts.
Yeah, it was a larger girls trip all the
Yeah,
time.
all the
And
time.
it was always a guaranteed good time.
Yeah.
Like no
And you
matter
know,
what.
like I feel like I don't really feel like we as many girl trips and different mixes of girls because like it really depends on the Miami trip. But I don't really remember there really being ever any drama.
If there was, we were never a part of it, I
That's
guess.
for sure. Yeah,
Because
you know, everybody can
yeah,
always mix their friend groups, but I feel like we choose wisely.
yeah. A lot of times because we travel with friends who are like family. Like
True.
sometimes there's some outliers. There might be a friend of a friend that's there, but the most like the core of the group are people that we've known or have, even if we didn't know them for a long time, they became fast family.
Yeah,
I think that helps.
probably helps like a lot.
Yeah.
Girl, we went all over the place, but it's been a good discussion, like
It's
real
all
good.
right. This is our first episode. We good.
Yeah. Any other ways that you think like our early travel influenced us later in life?
Man, I feel like early travel just set the stage for where we are today.
Yeah.
And we have so many more episodes coming up that we can talk about all the travel that we have done from the bus trips, Miami and beyond. That yeah, there'll be some interesting highlights there too.
Yeah, I can't wait for us to just like dig into it more on future episodes and just see where our foolishness and shenanigans takes us.
Definitely.
I would just say, if you're trying to travel, start somewhere. Just do something. Get up off the couch. You can do it.
You definitely can. I mean, we just spent a whole episode talking about traveling with our grandmother. So if you have a relative, a grandparent, somebody that lives maybe not where you live and that's just a little bit further away, that's a great place to start with your travel. I'd say go to grandma's house.
Yeah. And I mean, being on social media, you might get distracted, but don't let like Instagram and TikTok and all fool you. A trip is a trip. You could do a day trip. It could be in your own city. Just start exploring to like really get your travel groove ready and start it off.
Yes, travel is travel. So, like, we have traveled the world, but that doesn't mean that's where you're going or where you want to be. Like, don't let other people influence how you want to be. If travel is something that you've always wanted to do, start small and then work your way up to where you want to get to. And it's accessible to everyone of all budget sizes as well,
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
like,
Like
yeah,
go ahead.
staycation. You can be a tourist
Staycation.
in your own
Yes.
town. You can also go somewhere. Like it's okay. Just get out there and do it.
And I mean, some of your first memories were on the bus, right? So you don't
Right.
have to have a car. Bus tickets you can get affordable. And I mean, I know there's like especially some cheaper price buses from like big city to big city. So if
Oh yeah,
you're
the
like,
East Coast is good for those.
yeah, but there's even one on the West Coast as well. It's like the same company. There's a few different ones, and some of those are in other countries too. So if you're going like, I mean, I'm in LA, like LA to the Bay, you can get like a cheap bus there. So, traveling can really be accessible.
And sometimes flights can be just as inexpensive as a bus or a train. So like just make sure
Facts.
you check
Facts.
all your modes of like transportation because it's something that we are really big advocates of travel because the experiences are ones that you will have for a lifetime.
Yeah, and we've made it fit in all kind of budgets at different points in our life. So you can do it too.
So our travel tip for today is just get out there and start going.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for rocking with us as we embark on this journey. The Brannon Files podcast is a labor of love. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, IG, and Facebook at Brannon Files and check back for our next episode.